Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. This is your Friday Best Bets episode in the National Basketball Association playoffs. We have so much content for you over in the Action Network app. Best way for you to track your picks as well. You can follow the gentleman that I've got on with me today, Jay Money. Follow him on Twitter at JMoneyIsMoney, and Wheaton Brando for Brandon Anderson, NBA futures analyst. Heads up, programming note, tomorrow we will do series previews on Nuggets Suns. We will do Game 7 previews. We will do series preview on Knicks Heat, which is a thing. Good job, Bucks. Good job. I want it noted. I've been saying don't bet the Bucks for quite a while here. That's one thing I have gotten right in the playoffs. We will do best bets for today, though, in the two games in the National Basketball Association playoffs. Those two games being the Game 6s between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies in the nightcap. The Lakers are 4.5-point favorites, total 219.5, and the Warriors, defending champs, looking to knock off the Kings, having stormed back and won 3 straight. They are 7.5-point favorites at Chase Center versus the Sacramento Kings, total 235. You both have the same play. Brandon has predictably a more complicated version of it. We'll start. Go around the table. We'll give our best bets. Brandon, let's start with you. What are your best bets for the Friday slate?
All right. From the Lakers game, I've got 2. I like LeBron over 9.5 rebounds. That's my favorite prop there. And then I'm going to take the Lakers to win the first quarter and win the game outright as a parlay, money line parlay there, plus 126. In the Warriors game, give me Kevon Looney over 16.5 rebounds plus assists. And I've got a few other props related to that when we get there. And then Old Faithful time, guys. Take me home. Warriors third quarter, minus 1.5.
Love it. Love it. Jay, what do you got?
Give me Lakers in the first quarter, minus 1.5 in a bounce back spot. If they want to win the game, they got to win the first quarter, in my opinion.
Okay, I am tailing Brandon on Warriors third quarter. Take me home. I am taking the favorites here. I'm taking the Golden State Warriors minus 7.5. I'm taking the Los Angeles Lakers minus 4.5. These series end in 6 games. We are done with this round, mercifully. by Sunday, we will have moved. By Saturday, we'll have moved on to the second round. We'll do the caps on these. Okay. All right, let's start Lakers Warriors or Lakers Grizzlies because we have so many plays on it. I will go ahead and give this stat, which is a big guiding trend for me in this spot. Again, trends are not a reason. If I didn't like the Lakers, if I thought the Grizzlies were better, I would not bet them, but I bet the Lakers before this series, and I haven't seen anything to change my mind. When teams are up 3-2 and they're at home and they're favored, they've won 78% of the time. So a 3-2 series lead at home. I'm sorry, that they've actually won 68% of the time. An interesting note on this, they've only covered 49%. So it's basically been a coin flip. No real edge on either side there. 23 and 24 since 2003. I did, however, look at if you were up 3-1 and you lost game 5 on the road, right? You're up 3-1. You let your foot up off the pedal. You know, you're going home. They play desperate. Those teams have won outright 76% of the time and covered slightly better, 13 and 12 for 52% of the time. So what we have here is a very small trend here that suggests that basically 3-2 series at home, if it's been a back and forth affair, it's a little bit different. But if you had a 3-1 lead and you let slip, no, you're the better team and they should cover. Jay, give me your reasons why you like the Lakers first quarter here.
Yeah, well, first off, LeBron is starting to look kind of old, right? As the game goes on, he kind of loses his legs. So I want to get in and get out here. I do think the Lakers win the game. I wouldn't go so far as say that I don't trust them not to cover in this one. It's just that I'd rather take the first quarter. I need them to get off to a good start, build a lead, right? The way they can kind of coast the rest of the game in this one. So 1.5, basically just ask them to win the first quarter, which we know they can do. We saw them in game 3 coming off a loss, come out and smoke them 35-9. in that first quarter. So I don't think it'll be that bad, but I do think they know that they want to get off to a great start here, feed off the home crowd. And you don't want to give the Grizzlies any confidence, right, going into this game. You want to kind of want to step on them early in this one. That's how I look at it. I expect these guys to be ready to go in the first quarter. I'll take them in the first quarter -1.5, and I think they win the game as well.
I think Memphis threw everything they had at them in game 5. I just don't think that they have much left. The first quarter, kind of an interesting spot here. I need to look at some of the numbers historically. I'll do that while Brandon's giving his answer. Brandon, you don't want to lay that money. You were going to go ahead and combo this with the parlay for them to win the game. Why do you like that play better?
Yeah, I'm willing to be talked out of this and talk down to just the first quarter here. So I'm going to talk through with you guys. But yeah, I don't know that the takeaway from game 5 is a whole lot more than I'm not really sure why LeBron got on the flight. Like, I think we saw them make a push at some point, and then we saw the push go quickly the other way. It felt again, we're not giving the Grizzlies enough credit. I said this in game 2 as well. Like, oh, the Lakers just didn't show up with energy. Okay, well, the Grizzlies did, so they get credit for that. But to me, looking at the first quarter numbers in the series, the Grizzlies are a totally different animal at home, and especially at home in the first quarter. Regular season, at home, they're a +18 net rating in the first quarter. We've seen that this series. They won the first quarter last night by 14. They won the game by 17. So they basically built a huge lead and then played even ball the rest of the way. Game 2, they won the first quarter by 11. They won the game by 10. Built a huge lead in the first quarter, played even basketball the rest of the way. The other 3 games that the Lakers won, they won the first quarter. Game 1, they won by 5, won the game by 16. Game 3, 26 points. Remember, that was the 35-9 end of the quarter. And then game 4, they won the first quarter by 6, won the game by 6. So first quarter winner in the series is 5-0. It's teams, to me, we're seeing an energy differential. We see either the Lakers have it and LeBron has it and they show up, or we see early like, I don't know about this one. I think the Grizzlies are just the younger, hungrier team. So that's where I like the first quarter to go the Lakers' way. If you like them here, this for me is when I get creative with these picks. This is me saying I don't want to lay the points on the spread for the Lakers cover. I think that they win. That trend that we've talked about, Matt, that trend has not been good this week. The teams that the underdogs are covering but not winning. So this is me avoiding that, taking Lakers first quarter to win at +126, saying, okay, I do have a few doubts about the Lakers, just a little bit, but I think if they set the tone early and look good in the first quarter, then that should also imply that they win and make it worth my money. Give me the +126. So that's kind of where I got myself to that angle. The other thing too is the Grizzlies have actually been quite good in the second quarter. Like, I looked at that as its own play. And I'm going to avoid that, but that's partly why I isolated just the first quarter. I do think it could set up for a live bet situation. We've seen Lakers be so good late in games. So if they get an early lead, Grizzlies kind of fight back. You might get a spot to bet Lakers that way too. So that's kind of how I'm framing the game here.
Teams up 3-2 that are favored at home have won the first quarter 62% of the time. So
that's on the money line or ATS?
Money line.
Okay.
So, however, I would also say this. If they win the first quarter, I just looked this one up. If they win that first quarter, they are 20-9 at 69% against the spread for the full game. So I guess like my question there is like, why are you like, you're taking the money line on the Lakers, right?
It's the money line first quarter and full game. Yes.
Just lay the 5. You'll get a better number. Lay the 5 for the full game. Like,
but it's not a better number because I'm getting a +126 when I take the combo.
Right,
like,
but you can I mean, that's what I'm saying is take the parlay. Now I'm not saying to just take the spread. I'm saying
I see.
Parlay
play the first quarter money line and the spread.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. I should look into that.
It's 4.5, right? So we're in that zone where they're probably like I would say that there's a strong chance here that you're going to get an opportunity for them to hit free throws. Now, look, it could go wrong for sure, but I think that I don't know that I guess like here's the question, Jay, is from your perspective, is the risk associated with the brutality of the Lakers not covering the 5 by like a point or whatever, is that worth just like, do you just want to buy the insurance at plus? Is 126? Is that right, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm looking up. It's 126 if you just do it with the full game money line. And right now at our sponsor FanDuel, if you play first quarter with the -4.5 spread, then you can get plus 169. So you're getting an extra 43 cents payout there. I think I like it.
What do you think, Jay?
I want the insurance. I'd rather just ask them to win the game. Obviously, it could be a close game. Grizzlies in desperation. Obviously, I mean the Lakers should cover this one, but if you're going to tell me I can still get plus money and just ask them to win the game, if it was north of plus $2 for me to take the spread, then that's when it'd be like, okay, it's valuable for me to do it. But just 40 cents there, I'd rather take the plus 126 and just ask them to win the game.
Yeah, I will say I said 20 and 9, that's 69%. That's they win the game outright. So that's your original 126. ATS, it drops to 62%, 18 and 11, home favorite in game 6. So I don't know, like I feel like as a long-term better, your better play is to get that extra, like that's a big jump there, like on 40
It
cents.
is. I'm gonna Jay and I bet differently. As always, I'll take the aggressive angle. So I'll go for the higher payout. And again, we talked about the line difference here. 4.5 is not a lot. So if the Lakers do win the game, like the Grizzlies, this is their season. This is the end. So you have to foul. You have to. It's not like they're just gonna like let the clock run out in the last 5 seconds, down 4 or something. Like you're going all the way. So I'll take the risk. I'll take the extra juice.
On an outright disastrous day yesterday, I had Jared Vanderbilt over 11.5 points in rebounds. He had 8 in the first quarter and then nothing. He finished with 9 versus the 11.5. I don't have any sense of Ham's rotation here. Usually it's like, yeah, he's gonna play this guy. Like, and I know that Vando got in foul trouble. I get it. And the end of the game was garbage time. But I'm just like, really? Like sometimes it's Rui, sometimes it's Vando. There's no rhyme or reason. Don't have any sort of like I have no idea how to rotate through that. So I'm gonna stay away from the rebound props in this one. So you like LeBron over 9.5 on the rebounds. Why do you like that angle again?
Yeah, so I think you have to play a rebounds angle here. We've seen increasingly as the series has gone on, both teams are just matching the offensive glass. And both teams are missing a lot of shots, and we see more missed shots usually late in the series as well. So I think just lots of offensive rebounds, and LeBron is averaging 12.4 rebounds a game, obviously inflated by the heroic 20 rebound effort that he had. But LeBron and Anthony Davis are averaging 6 offensive rebounds a game together. So, and LeBron has gotten a bunch of those. He's getting like 2, 3, 4 a game. And that's just, it's a different LeBron. You know, he's a little older and a little slower now. So he's playing a little closer to the basket. And the man knows what things he can do and what he can't do. And there are more things he can't do now, but it means that he's tapping into what can I do? And that's win the game physically in the interior. So over 9.5 rebounds, he's had at least 9 every game. So he went under by a half rebound by the hook on one of these. Otherwise, he had 10, 11, 12, and 20. So I think that's a good play, even though you're drinking a little bit of juice here. It's a -140 right now, but I think that line should be a bit higher. If you want to get creative here, and of course, I always like to get creative. LeBron triple-double is 12-1. We know he's going to score 10. He has to get 10 rebounds to hit the rebounds here. So we're now at 12-1 to hit 10 assists. He's not done that this series, but in game 4, he had 7 assists on 21 potentials. So 12-1, that's just too long. I don't think he's going to do it, but 12-1 is too long if you like the rebounds bet. The other thing I looked at is either LeBron or Anthony Davis, one of them has had at least 17 rebounds in each of the last 3 games. Davis had 19 last game, 17 in game 3. LeBron had 20 in between. Lots of rebounds. There's no numbers for it yet. But when we get LeBron plus 16 rebounds or 16 plus and Davis 16 plus, they'll both be really long numbers. I might play both of those and just basically say, okay, give me a Laker to get 16 rebounds and kind of bet on lots of missed shots too. So some creative long shots there, but the base play is just LeBron to hit the rebounds.
All right, let's go to Warriors versus Kings as the champs looked dead in the water after game 2. And look, here they are once again, about probably to advance here. I'll go ahead and give my cap, like on top of the fact that these favorites tend to win. there's been no indication that the Kings have figured out how to counter. The Golden State's getting better as the series goes on. And a lot of this, I think, is if we kind of dig into stuff, Mike Brown had such a heads up in terms of knowing what the Warriors want to do and having worked for them and understanding how to counter them and how to attack them. But like a lot of it was just like the crowd was really awesome for games 1 and 2, and the Kings played really well, and they were still pretty close games. And now we're just kind of seeing like the edges win out more and more and more. Sabonis is still such a huge negative. That's a problem. Like it's very difficult when you're trying to like win these games when your best player is simply not best player. Your second best player is so ineffective. Sabonis was a -1 last night. He had 21 and 10 with 4 assists and was a -1. Shot 9 of 15 from the field, lost his minutes. Like that's a problem. Fox shoots 9 of 25. Thought the concerns about the finger, I think, were a little warranted, but I just think that the Warriors are figuring out how to defend him more. They're getting used to the speed. It happens over the course of the series. You just get used to guarding a guy, and the starters simply are not good enough versus the fact that the Warriors with a chance to advance the second round will continue to play their guys heavy minutes. Also, here's the thing. Klay Thompson was absolute dog shit the first 2 games of the series, and guess what? He's no longer dog shit. Like, this is the thing, is like Klay's going to have games where he's absolutely terrible. He'll have games where he's absolutely terrible in the rest of the playoffs. Then he'll have nights like last night where we're recording this on Thursday morning, where he's 10 of 19 from the field for 25 points, 5 of 11 from 3, and a +14. They're getting great minutes from Kevon Looney. Jay, I'm surprised that you're not on Dubs here. Tell me why you're not on Dubs in this spot.
Well, I expect him to win the game, but I do think it could be a little bit closer. I could see this being like a game 4. If you are betting at FanDuel, our sponsors, you can take like Warriors 1 to 10. I think that's a great bet here. It's usually at plus money. Basically, they have to win from anywhere from 1 point to 10 points. Obviously, they have to win the game. So I do think this one could be a little bit closer than people expect. Obviously, the Kings this is possibly their last game of the season. I expect them to leave it all out there on the floor. I could just really see another one where they have a chance to win the game. It comes down to a last second shot. They'll likely lose, but I do think they'll give it everything they got. Fox, I mean, I know that he's hurt, but he didn't really look too banged up in this one. So I'm not laying a 7.5 with the Warriors in here. I do expect them to get it done, but I would maybe take Warriors from 1 to 10 if I'm making a play on this game.
Brandon, in this one, we're doing Warriors third quarter. I don't know that we needed to like do a whole thing on Warriors third quarter. If you're listening to the show, you should know Warriors third quarter. They're the best third quarter team of all time. And we just see it consistently in these homes. At home, they are the best third quarter team of all time. I think it's extremely light. It's only 1.5. That line is preposterous. Like, come on. Like, Warriors third quarter in game 4? In game 4 was like live was -4.5. Like, they're going to win this third quarter. They're likely going to win the game. You can give thoughts on third quarter if you want. I am definitely with you on Kevon Looney over 16.5 rebounds. I was on his points and rebounds prop last night, or rebounds and assists prop last night, and that cashed. So give me your thoughts on Warriors Kings.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with thoughts on the game because I think it actually sets up the Looney play as well. So you're right, Matt. I think that the Kings just got those first 2 home games, and that's an easy narrative, and it's an easy tell. It's true that the crowd was awesome. The Kings were awesome. And I do think that the Warriors have slowly figured things out as they've gone. Another thing, though, it's not just the home road splits, and home road splits are real, very, very real. Warriors' 3rd best defensive rating at home, 3rd worst on the road. I don't know how that happens, but it's happened, and we're seeing it in the playoffs. And we've seen this too. Warriors, 2 home games, 11 turnovers in those 2 games, 16.3 on the road. That's 5 extra possessions of Warrior shots. So that's a lot of points that changes from home to road. Kings, 29 free throws per game in their home games, 20 on the road. You're getting the home whistle. They're not going to get that here. So I think you have to like the home team here with the huge home road splits we've seen from the Warriors. The thing that I noticed, though, so the game last night, game 5 win, the Warriors went 39 of 58 on 2-pointers, 67%. They had 33 assists. This was part of my cap coming into the series, and I was wrong early in the series. We remember game 1. Game 1, we got to a close fourth quarter. We had the shot chart, right, where the Warriors shot threes, all threes, the whole fourth quarter, like 23 threes and 4 twos. They shot 50 threes in that game. Here's the progression of number of 2-pointers the Warriors have taken as the series has gone on. Game 1, they took 40, then 42, then 50, 56, 58. Every game, the Warriors are taking more twos. The big leap came in game 3. And I'm going to say this, and I know it's just going to sound like Brandon Warriors truther. I think the Draymond suspension accidentally saved the series for the Warriors, because that is when Steve Kerr switched to the one big lineup, putting Kevon Looney in the middle alone and opened the offense up. And I think really that was the big change. As much as the home road split, it spread the offense out. It's opened up Looney as this absolute monster short roll guy on the offensive glass and passing. And the Warriors have been down to only 36 threes the last 2 games compared to 50 in 2 of the first 3 games. So that lowers the variance, and they're hitting 60% of their twos for the series. So an offensive rating has gone up a lot in that stretch too. So to me, all of that is where I think the Warriors have found some answers, and those answers carried over even to the road game where they're not supposed to be good anymore. Why third quarter? There is one quirky thing here that I think helps us a little bit. This game tips at 5 local, right? Because the Lakers have to play also, and they can't overlap the games because, oh my God, please never do that again, NBA. My head is spinning from last night. It was awesome, but too much. But yeah, so it's a weird spot where the early start could kind of help the home team, right? If the crowd is not really present yet, a la Miami Heat, and the road team gets into it a little bit. So I think third quarter, you like it because either maybe the Kings actually got off to a good start, and now the Warriors need to make their push, and we know that's when they do it in the third quarter, or you get more of a game 7 setting. Kings kind of hang around early. They're trying, they're pushing. Then you come out in the second half and the big home team push comes, and that's the third quarter avalanche. So I think we get multiple outs that way. That's why I like the third quarter, particularly this game.
You can do Warriors third quarter money line, full game money line, and at FanDuel, that same game parlay is -108. So you can basically say, like, I think they're going to win the third quarter and they're going to win the game. And to me, that tracks. Like, I wouldn't be actually surprised if the Kings were up at half. That wouldn't shock me. And Jay's comment about, like, this could be close. Like, I am laying 7 here. It's probably not the move. So, like, if you're going to do this, I definitely think third quarter. And if you want to get on the game and you don't want to lay as much as you have to lay for their money line, which is considerable in this game. This is one of the problems I think with the Warriors is, like, they're a great side to play. It's just like the market's so juiced for them. Like, it's just so juiced for them. Before we get out of here, I do want to ask. Well, we got to do Kevon Looney first.
Let me. I'll just get quickly to this. So Looney, I mean, you've watched it. We've all seen Looney just dominating the glass. 20, 14, and 22. Just rebounds the last 3 games. So the rebound assist line here is 16.5. There is every possibility Looney just goes over that with just his rebounds. But oh, by the way, he has 9, 6, and 7 assists in those games too. He's getting these short rolls. The Warriors are deadly on cuts. And he's hitting these guys rolling to the rim. So I think, like, he's at 29, 20, and 29 rebound plus assists the last 3 games. We're getting a 60.5 here. So as long as that scheme keeps up, I like that one a lot. And then also assists, you can get 5 assists for plus 165, 7 assists for plus 675. He's done that 2 of the last 3 games. So you got to know my aggression. I'm playing those a little bit too. 2 other ones you can, I guess I'll write about them or tweet. Draymond points over. He's been aggressive the last 2 games. Steph turnovers under. He has gone under 3.5 turnovers, 11 straight home playoff games, and 21 of the last 23.
Like the Draymond look, Brandon. I just wanted to say real quick, I think that's something that they figured out, that they were kind of really relaxing off Draymond. He's doing like fake dribble handoffs, things like that, getting to the basket pretty easy. I think he had 21 points last game. They didn't want to say what they figured out. I think that's what it is, that Draymond is going to be a more offensive force in this series. So definitely like his points over.
Interesting. Okay. Before we get out of here, I do want to touch on the Milwaukee Bucks flame out versus the Heat. We'll talk Heat Knicks tomorrow on the pod. I have a column going up on Action Network that kind of details my thoughts on the Bucks flame out. It kind of comes down to this: is I wasn't brave enough to bet against them in the series versus the Heat. I had picked Heat. I actually bet a little bit on Heat 4-3, which didn't win because they didn't even get to the game 7. I was like, no way does Milwaukee not take at least 3 games. No. Nope. I think that we're going to see significant changes with the Bucks. This is not, I don't have like, I'm not reporting that I've heard that anyone, like, they haven't made decisions on anything, but I will say that the Bud stuff is like a long time coming, and winning the title bought him time, and he used up all of that time in this series when he put in he put in the worst coaching performance I've ever seen JB Bickerstaff not give. And so we're going to see changes here. It's possible they go the other way and they're just like, we're not going to, like, sometimes teams really dig in and they're like, they're so against overreacting. They're like, we don't want to overreact. My reaction would be like, sometimes you should overreact. You should overreact if you're the 1 seed and you lose to this trash Heat team that could not hit a bucket this season. And then later in the year when they could shoot, couldn't defend. You should probably make some changes in that context. So I think that we will see some changes both in the coaching front. And then especially part of this is like, there's good coaches out there like Kenny Atkinson, Frank Vogel, and of course, Nick Nurse. It's like 3 coaches that are very widely and highly respected. Quinn Snyder would have honestly been a good fit too, even though Quinn's got a history of some of the same playoff issues. I think like Chris Middleton's got a player option that's been talked about for a while. I've been reporting on that all season. Like, this is not coming from the Bucks, but people around the league are like, yeah, we think that mid's going to be available, that you can get mid this summer. We'll see. The Bucks may be like, no, we got to keep mid no matter what, because their options are very limited. If they liquidated everybody except for the roster, the contracts that they have on roster for next season, they would still only have $17 million under the cap. Like, they don't have a lot of good options here. Brook Lopez, unrestricted free agent, and Brook probably wants to get paid considering that he was a DPOY candidate this season who was putting in 30 burgers like late in the season. Like, Brook was amazing this season. I think there's going to be changes. I don't know what that means. This could get really bad. This could get really, really, really bad in a hurry, depending on what happens. And in the NBA, I always kind of lean towards that happening. Or they might stabilize things and everyone might be like, no, we've got something that we believe works. We just need to change some things and figure it out. But I do think that like it's a monumental failure. They should not have lost to this team. I don't want to hear about the Giannis injury. You have to be good enough to beat the 8th seed, even with Jimmy Butler doing what he did. Like, I'm not denying. I have the numbers for you about the Heat's shot variance, and boy, they better hope that continues because they don't have Tyler Hero or Vic for the next round. But I think there's got to be changes coming for Milwaukee. It's like everyone really wants to talk about Giannis's quote. I don't really care. Like, just straight up, I don't really care. But when we're looking at the futures context for next season, I will tell you, Brandon, I kind of wonder if we have reached the apex of the Bucks and if they are a no bet going forward for a number of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of time to chew on this one. Personally, I loved the Giannis quote, but we won't get into that. I've checked my phone twice, I think, during this podcast to see if the Bud has been fired news has broken yet. It just feels like an inevitability at this point to me personally. The Bucks made 5 field goals in fourth quarter and overtime last night. 5 field goals in 17 minutes of play. The last 2 games of the series, they got outscored 83-49 in fourth quarter and overtime. You can't do that. And Matt, your takeaway is, do we have to stay away from Bucks futures? And I can't take credit for this because I didn't. I bet the Bucks a couple of times, but since we got the title run, but I've wondered ever since then, man, are we sure? Are we sure the Bucks are just like totally fine now and they've solved the late game offense and everything is fine? We wanted to think that once they won the title that they had things figured out, but it felt like, they caught some breaks there. Everything counts. You only can be the teams in front of you, but they were down 2-0 in the finals. Like, we were writing the eulogy for the Bucks team and that they couldn't come through. Even then, we were writing the eulogy in the Eastern Finals when Giannis was hurt, and it looked like that might be the end. it was not a convincing title run that year. And we've seen what happened since then. We saw what happened to this Miami team twice now. So I think that there has to be major questions. And I love what Giannis said, but when you're the guy we're talking about as the best player in the league, you can't look like that down the stretch. You can't be hot potatoing the basketball because you're terrified to shoot a free throw. That matters. You can't be the number one player in the league if that's what it looks like down the stretch. So I think there's a lot to think about here. I think just context on what this looks like in NBA history. The Bucks were minus 1,200 to win the series. This is the fourth biggest NBA series upset ever, as far as we have tracking to go back. And the other three is all 8-1s, just like this one was. And I don't know. This is a shocking upset. This is now the 6th straight year the team with the number 1 overall record missed the finals. This is the 4th straight year that team did not even make the conference finals. That is shocking to me because historically, I always just believe favorites win in the NBA. That's what we've seen for so long. And I think, Matt, you and I were texting about this last night. To me, that those number 1 overall regular season team missing, that's a conversation about the regular season and how much, if anything, does regular season still mean. The Bucks get credit. They won the regular season. They were the 1 seed, but it didn't really get them anywhere. So to me, that's a big question is, what do we learn about regular season versus playoffs looking at this? Not just for the Bucks, but for everyone.
I'll say this.
I just want to say one thing.
Yeah, hey, Jay.
Think Giannis eggs out. I said this early in the year. Everybody got all over my head. If not this summer or next summer, Giannis will ask for a trade. I do not think he wants to be in Milwaukee anymore. If they fire the coach and blow up the team, he's definitely leaving. So that's just my take on it.
Oh, I'll push back hard on that. I think that firing the coach would be a big move towards keeping him. That's my impression based off of not.
He wants to be in LA, guys.
I don't disagree. Like, this is where everybody does. Like, he's at that point in his career. Everybody, KD was like this. KD was like, love, I'm just humble and here and great and everything's great with Thunder. And then, like, everybody just wants to live in California. That's what every NBA player wants to do. Everyone wants to live in California. Anthony Davis in a 3-way trade. Anthony Davis to the Bulls. Whatever the Bulls have. But no, Zach LaVine to somebody else. And then the other team stuff to the Bucks. That's how we get that done.
Let me just add quickly, Jimmy Butler, awesome. Miami Heat, awesome. Incredible. We will talk about the Heat on our Friday preview. Yep. Heat fans, you're going to get your plot. It's like awesome. We had to talk about the Bucks falling short here today.
Yeah. I mean, Jimmy's incredible. They shot the lights out. That's really it. Jimmy's incredible. They shot the lights out. The Bucks pissed down their leg. That's the series. One thing I will push back on with Brandon is Brandon's like, well, what about like the regular season? I'm like, this is part of my column is all of the things that we talk about on this podcast: net rating, SRS, schedule adjusted, offensive, defensive ranks, all these types of indicators that actually tell how good you are versus how many games you win. They all said the Bucks were not that good. So they were good. Shouldn't have lost the 8th seed. Shouldn't have lost to this 8th seed. But it all said that they weren't that good. Yep. One of the things I think we got to realize now is that wins and losses in the regular season are too warped by how teams approach the regular season. That's a better indicator. So, all right, let's go wrap it up for Buckets. Thanks for joining us on Thursday going into Friday. Tomorrow we'll have series previews on Suns Nuggets. We'll have series previews on Knicks Heat. Wow. And we'll have continuing coverage of the NBA playoffs. Get you set for the game 1s over the weekend as well. Make sure to follow Jay on Twitter at JMoneyIsMoney. Brandon's on Twitter at Wheaton Brando. I'm on Twitter at HB Basketball. Action Network's on Twitter at Action Network HQ. My thanks to David Payne, our producer. He's on Twitter, but I can't remember his handle right now. Thanks to David Payne, our producer. Have yourselves a great day. We'll see you guys again next time. And until then, unlike the Milwaukee Bucks, let's get buckets.